I came to Mount Bachelor because I haven't skied it before and because it's on the Icon Pass. After just a few days, it's one of my favorite mountains. So here are some tips in case it's your first time or if it's your 8th time.
The first tip is for those looking to explore Bachelor's Summit. Plan a multi-day trip. The reason why in a second. But first, what's so great about the summit? Well, you can stand atop a dormant stratovolcano and scan the horizon for glimpses of other volcanic peaks that you may have caught from your window during your sunset landing on the way in. Then just strap in and choose any line to ski your board down into Bachelor's volcanic crater. Yeah, you're in a crater, dude. And after texting your mom that you survived a volcanic descent, you can head back up to the summit, and this time, instead of heading down into the crater, you can glide past the caution signs to the backside. Because one unique feature of Bachelor is that once you're at the top, there are 360 degrees of lines that you can choose from. Total freedom. Whichever way you want to go, just go. And these lines can be just as cool as the crater. And don't worry that there are no chairlifts in the direction that you're headed. You'll ultimately come upon the east or west catch line, which will shuttle you around the mountain back to civilization. Well, more like take you on a windy country mountain road excursion back to the base. So here's the problem with all that. Everything you just saw is often inaccessible because the summit is frequently closed due to wind and snow conditions. Some might say it always seems closed. So spending multiple days at Bachelor will increase your odds of experiencing the summit. But even on an extended trip, the summit may not open. We were there for 3 days with the summit open the first, but not the second.
Today is an example of there being too much wind for the summit lift to be open.
And on the third day, the summit was closed in the morning with long lines forming just on the rumor that it would open in the afternoon, which it eventually did. So what if you plan a week at Bachelor and the summit never opens? At least you're at a resort that has 4,300 skiable acres and a 1,025 meter vertical drop, right? Well, not really. The summit accounts for a significant portion of the skiable acreage and vertical drop. That's the downside of planning an extended stay to reach the summit. If it never opens, you have a lot of time at a notably smaller resort. But don't pass up Bachelor just because of that. The terrain below the summit is stellar. The Cloud Chaser chairlift on the left side of the trail map opens up some great intermediate cruisers, which on a nice clear day early in the morning, leave you feeling like you're at the resort by yourself. When you're at the top of the Cloud Chaser lift, whether you head to the skier's left or the skier's right, you can't go wrong for finding that type of terrain. And then there are the Northwest and Outback chairlifts on the right side of the trail map, providing you access to a mixture of intermediate and expert slopes. The black slopes certainly aren't the steepest you can find, but it's a full mix of terrain, with a standard blue run like Kangaroo carved out of the trees with a nice moderate grade, or runs that have bumps, but not too big, more like entry-level bumps, even the occasional shrub hopping out of a mogul to add some variety. And if you like those shrubs, you're in luck because there are plenty more just begging for you to ski your board through them off to the sides. And on days when the summit is closed, you can consider traversing over to the backside to pick up some of that terrain. Back on the front, you'll find intermediate slopes like Coffee, again with decently spaced trees and shrubs on the side for those who want some added excitement beyond just a regular blue slope. Bachelor only has 15% beginner terrain, and it's all on the front side below the summit. Slopes like Marshmallow and Avalanche. So those who love green slopes don't need to worry about planning a multi-day trip to access them. And what about the terrain parks? Bachelor has a bunch. On the front side under the Pine Marten chairlift, and 2 more over by the Skyliner and Rainbow chairlifts. So those can be a salvation if you're into tricks and the summit is closed. So all of that might be able to offset your disappointment if you don't make it to the summit on a long stay at Bachelor. Tip number 2 is to aim for weekdays to avoid putting up with lift lines. Sure, this is true of any resort, but it's important to realize that it applies equally to Bachelor, because Bachelor is situated approximately 4 hours by car from Portland International Airport. Those flying will either have to make that drive or connect to Redmond Airport, which is much closer, about 30 minutes out. You might think that the extra connecting flight or long drive would be a deterrent to those traveling to Oregon for a weekend trip, thereby keeping the lift lines shorter. And maybe it is, but our experience was that there were nevertheless significant lines on the weekend, with locals raving about and recommending weekdays. So maybe make that multi-day stay at Bachelor land on a Monday to Friday. Tip 3 is a shortcut to access Bachelor, which sits in the Deschutes National Park. Most people will stay about 30 minutes out in Bend, Oregon, a great small town feel with historic buildings, fun taverns, stores, and artwork. Main route from Bend to Bachelor is Route 372, Cascade Lake Scenic Mountain Byway, which often gets backed up in the morning. So if you're staying more toward the south of Bend, particularly in Sun River and Three Rivers, you may be able to avoid much of this traffic by taking NF45. But NF45 may be less clear in snowy conditions, so make sure you're comfortable with that before taking it. When you get to Bachelor, where should you park? The main lot has a paid parking section close to the base, with the rest of that lot being free. Same thing with the lot by the Sunrise Lodge. Both lots start filling up early because they're next to lift ticket office and restaurants. So tip number 4 is to park at the junior race lot, but only if you already have your lift tickets, because there are no ticket offices there. No restaurants, no shops. Just park and jump on the Skyliner chairlift. Tip number 5 relates to lift tickets, particularly for those who don't have any, care about keeping costs down, and are with someone who has an Icon pass. The tip is not to immediately use the Icon Friends and Family discount. First, explore your options if you buy directly from Bachelor. Our friends save money instead of using the Icon discount. Whether it's cheaper may depend on your circumstances, but unless you enjoy spending money needlessly, it's worth checking out. And everyone may want to consider the Fast Track Pass, an add-on that gives you access to a priority lane at the lifts. It really only seems to make sense on weekends when the lines are longer, and even then we hardly saw anyone using it. It would definitely have been handy at the Skyliner and Sunrise chairlifts. Less so at the other chairlifts where the long lines seem to move decently enough to forego the Fast Track Pass.
Don't go.